I called in a few months ago, and part of my question back then was about I mentioned about wanting to maybe reform my church and learn a little bit more so I could be more of a help in teaching and stuff like that. Well, 2 Sundays ago, me and a fellow teacher friend of mine in the church were asked to stay and talk to the pastors after the church service. And, well, we were asked to step down from teaching unless we stopped teaching Calvinism. And not just the terms, but just, stuff like predestination, any of that stuff. And they said that will not be taught in this church. And, so obviously, we both would have to leave with that. And more power to them for firming up what they believe, because before that, there really was no solid stance either way. But I guess my question is kind of multifaceted. I guess, first of all, I'm kind of just looking for a little bit of wisdom and encouragement on what to do next. I mean, I want to be in another church, but how much stuff do I need to put on hold until that happens? Because it's not like, I can go find a church tomorrow. Got to wait till Sunday for one, and I got to go to church a few times before I can really know what they believe and if I can plug into it. And I'm kind of not just asking for myself, but also my friend who also was asked to step down. And there's just going to be a lot more damage from this. And, so I guess in a broader sense, the question is, what encouragement would you give to people in this kind of situation? And I guess on a more personal sense, like, I want to teach. I want to, I have a website in which I want to put out articles and things like that. Is that stuff that I need to put on hold until I get firmly planted in a church? I mean, I don't know. It's been a pretty weird week.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear about that. It's not overly surprising. Most churches that take that kind of perspective consider that to be a definitional issue, even though they may not have any sound understanding of it. And so you're certainly not the first person who's encountered that. And I think it is good for you to be considering, if I'm producing content for the web, it would be appropriate to be in a sound church. I suppose the main question I would have is, are you in a location where there are sound Reformed churches that you can become a part of? Because a lot of people, they're in places down south, especially where, I'll stop at a church and they'll say, we are the only Reformed church for 30 miles around. And I know that's a reality that some people have to face. But at the same time, I would assume that you would probably be aware of where there are Reformed churches nearby, just simply from hearing about people who are, teaching in a similar fashion to what you believe.
There are. There's a handful. I tried one this past Sunday. And I figured the next few weeks I'm gonna go around to the different ones that are available locally. But again, I can't join a church after 1 week. I mean, I guess I could, but you know what I mean. It's I want to, I guess, feel a church out and make sure it's a good fit for them and for me.
Yeah. So as long as it doesn't become a long-term situation, if you're looking, then I would put together a list of, if you have multiple possibilities, I'd put together a list that you want to visit. Maybe find an opportunity to briefly sit down with the elders or elders and, inquire as to, what their thinking is about you joining. Obviously, most of the time, speaking as someone who's been an elder for, 20, over a quarter of a century, you're a little hesitant about people who come through the door saying, "Hi, I'm here to teach."
Yes.
You got to realize that if they don't know who you are, that there has to be a time period of acclimation, getting to know somebody, getting to observe their life, things like that, before you would be in that type of situation, and that may require some patience, things like that. But and you also can't make a decision just based upon a single visit either. This last Sunday, we're renting a church that just the air conditioning system just is not up to dealing with as large a crowd as we have at 4:00 in the afternoon, which is right around the hottest time of the day.
Yeah.
And so, some people might, judge us simply based upon that. Well, they had too many fans going and stuff like that, whereas, in December, it could be completely different situations. So it is a process, and it's worth investing time and effort in. And, but I know that as a head of a nonprofit organization, having harmony between myself and the leadership of the church is absolutely vital. I mean, I could not be running around speaking in other churches if I did not feel like there was a consistency between what I was teaching and what would be taught if they came and visited the church that I'm a member of. So it's definitely worth the kind of time to find that out.